So thank you very much, and welcome back. I want to just begin today with a very short series of provocations, just to set the tone. When Simpiwe gave me the brief, like one of the speakers mentioned yesterday, Selo, it's evolving, it's fluid, right, which we like. So the key piece of the brief and the key piece of this opening chapter of today is around design. So I think we spent a lot of time yesterday in terms of understanding the problem, both systemically, symptomatically, etc., etc. And so we all spend time in that kind of space, formulating problem statements and so on. Today is very much about response. Today is very much about building, and the principles of building is around design. And so we really want to lean into that aspect. So I ask you to partner with us as we set that tone with regard to building the way forward, and moving then from the problem analysis and the problem statements. We understand that, it's well established, we covered that yesterday, and we now move on to design. So this is a photograph that I took last week, actually 7 days ago. I took this photograph. It is in Tamale, which is in northern Ghana, and it is the local chief, the Yana, in the area. And we made the mistake. No, it wasn't a mistake, but we asked the chief, can you tell us about the developmental challenges that your people face? And he was very animated. I have a series of photographs of him which I can share with you, and he gesticulated and he was very clear about what it is that he was saying. I sensed also in the translation, because I don't speak Dagbani, but I sensed in the translation that there was a lot of frustration, that there was land that was allocated for particular use and purposes, and the experience of the people was not what was in the documents, was not what was in the policies, was not what was in the spatial development frameworks. And I think we see a lot of that as well. So what I want to also ask from a tone perspective today is that we have conversations that are based in real life. So think IRL today, IRL, in real life. What's happening in real life? So maybe I share just a very short reflection that I had on this particular development mission. We went to an abandoned airfield in an area called Nyoini. There's an abandoned airfield. And we were standing there with the city planners and the city engineers and so on. And we spoke about the zoning and all of the policies and everything. We had all our desktop research we had done. And then we said, so there's this old runway that we were standing on. And then, so we said, okay, so this is used as a road. And the city planner said, it's not a road. And as he said, it's not a road, a motorbike drove past behind him. So we're like, no, but it is a road. He's like, no, but it's not zoned as a road. And we're like, no, we understand that. And as we're having the conversation, 5 more scooters passed behind us. So it is a road. It's being used as a road in real life. So today is about, yes, policy, yes, frameworks, yes, all of those things, strategy, but it is about what are communities experiencing in real life? And how do we respond to that from a development perspective? How do we apply development intelligence to that so that we move forward as a sector? And we aren't seen as those people in the room that go, nah, 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 nah. Have you been in meetings like that? Yeah. The problem is, we know what the problem is. This is the solution. This is where we're moving. So this is a 1 minute 35-second video. I'm respecting your time. 1 minute 35-second video I'd like you to watch, which I find quite interesting.
My kid is growing up and wants to go to a library, there should be a library nearby for the kid to go. If you also go to a quality park, there should be nearby in my neighborhood. If there's a good playground, it should be in my neighborhood. Is there a museum, like a city museum? Are there several city museums? Of course we should have city museums that the kid can go and spend hours looking at things. Is there a place for theatre? Is there some performances that happen on a regular basis which are not high-priced events and, simple performances? Are there community spaces? We don't have that. We used to have that, but we don't have that in the way that our cities are being built today. And we have underserved and undersold that idea. We have started treating that idea as infrastructure. area doesn't have an auditorium or doesn't have culture, build an auditorium. Build an auditorium is not building culture. Culture is something else that you have to work with till it demands an auditorium. The building of an auditorium is the end of the journey and the beginning of the journey for the idea of a certain culture. If there's a certain part in anywhere where there's an active theatre group and that community has been actively doing theatre for 20 years, then sure, now is the time to really walk up to them and say, look, what will make this better? And the chances are they're not going to say, I want a 700-seater auditorium. The chances are they're going to say, I want a place for practicing, a place for small performances. That's what I want, something like that. I think that we supplant infrastructure without really understanding the cultural needs for it. And that cohesion is something that cities are suffering because of.
Does that resonate? I'm going to leave it there. I don't have to explain it to you. I'm not a lecturer. I was, but I'm not anymore. This is setting the tone. So, as a very brief summary, a group over here yesterday when we did some of the synthesis spoke about asset-based community development. And there are just a few principles from that I want to share. The first is you build from local assets, associations, and social networks. That's where we build from. What's happening in communities in real life. Sequence capital after culture. Sello mentioned yesterday Ubuntu. He says South Africa is the only country in the world where Ubuntu is workshopped. That really resonated with me. So, sequence capital after culture, practice and community demand, incredibly important. And then, when we talk about impact, I thought this was really important. Track whether investment strengthens self-organization and social infrastructure. That's the language of impact that we should be pursuing aggressively. Without any mediation, track whether investment strengthens self-organization and social infrastructure. So I want to do a social experiment, if you don't mind. We are, I'm not saying this facetiously, we are a very important group sitting here. I hope you recognize yourself as such. And so I want to test our connectivity, because we all have the same mission, we're all aligned. If I were to ask you, everybody here is here for the same reason. So I want to do a social experiment. I am forwarding this slide as well as the video to somebody in the room. You don't know who it is. Let's see. Let's see who it is. I'm forwarding it to somebody in the room. Once you've received the message, please put up your hand. Now I'm going to test our connectivity. Because the minute I want to see how quickly somebody's received it, please pass it on to people in the room. As you receive the message, I'd like you to put up your hand. I want to see how long that takes. How long is that going to take? We're supposed to be connected. In the world we live in, this shouldn't take long. Yumna, are we moving? Are we moving? I still don't. We are not as connected as we should be. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not a reflection on Yumna, by the way. But I share, maybe let me tell you why I sent it to Yumna. Yumna and I have a very close professional relationship in development. And so when I see something, when I hear something interesting, I send it to Yumna, she feeds back to me, she sends me stuff, and so on and so on. Yumna, have you shared it? Have you? Who to? Simpiwe, he's not here. Find someone else. Rihanna, send it to Rihanna. Do you have Rihanna's number? Simpiwe, you received a message, you must forward it on. You're part of a social experiment. Yumna sent you a message. We want to see how quickly it gets through the room. Simpiwe is busy. Once you receive the message, please put up your hand. Somebody received something? Have you got something? Who's got it? No one yet? We are failing as a sector, live in the room. Who got it? You know, you were on your phones all day yesterday. I don't accept that. Yes. No Bantu. Share. I'm going to move on to the next slide while you share, right? I want to see how long it takes. This room should be connected. This room should allow for content, for intelligence, for solutions, for pilots, for case studies to travel really, really quickly. Ubuntu, airdrop, do what you need to do. Let's get the message going. The last slide I want to share with you, just before we introduce the panel, is a summary of yesterday's binding constraints. That's also in the WhatsApp. So you'll get this as well. You'll get the slide as well. Effectively, you were here. It spoke to our 5 key challenges: skills gap, insufficient skills, unequal ownership of land and productive assets, low competition and weak value chain inclusion, that's market access, expensive or limited connectivity in underserved areas, and climate and water security. And there's a reference in terms of where it comes from. So you will receive these slides. The last thing I want to say, ladies and gentlemen, have you received the WhatsApp? Can I just check? Yes, you have. Please share. Share it on. Share it on. Share it on. Put up your hand if you haven't. If you've not received the WhatsApp and you see somebody put up their hand, you must go to them and say, here's my number. Share it with me. Let's go. Let's go. Let's make it happen. So, ladies and gentlemen, the last thing I want to say before I introduce the panel. Are you connected? Yeah, do you have it? Then you are semi-connected, not fully connected. So let me say the following, ladies and gentlemen. A part of what your responsibility is here is to share what you hear and see. So we'd like to see this on your WhatsApp profiles. We'd like to see this on your Insta stories. We'd like to see this on LinkedIn. You don't have to tag some people in Tetwa. It'll be nice if you do. You don't have to. It's not about those vanity metrics, but it's about getting the information out and said, I was in this room, this is what we heard, this is why it's important. So please, if you've not yet received the WhatsApp, it's a problem. Let's fix that during the course of the day. You got it, Tabang? Share. Who has received the WhatsApp? And then I'm going to introduce the panel. Have you shared it? Shared it on? Let me see who's got the WhatsApp. How many hands so far? 1, 2, 3, Tabang. Sort to 3.5, 4. Let's keep going. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to introduce the first panel. They will do a lot of the heavy lifting in terms of the introduction. I think a very, very important conversation. I'm going to give you the title. It's the missing middle voice. What South Africa's most funded communities have been trying to tell us for 30 years. Please take notes. It's thoroughly tweetable, it's thoroughly Instagrammable, and it's thoroughly implementable. You know them, you see them, you love them. Let's give them the stage and the opportunity to share with us. Thank you very much. I want to welcome the first panel up. Thank you.